What's up guys, how y'all doing? Welcome to another video and welcome to another episode of Rob's Photo Gossip. That's right, we're talking all about the Canon R7 and the potential Canon RFS lenses. So I did a video just recently talking about all the different Canon R7 rumours and putting them all in one place. Well, this week it seems that we've had another step towards understanding exactly what that camera is going to be. Now, I'm an avid follower of Canon rumours. I strongly recommend you go check out Canon rumours, check out their website, follow Canon rumours guy on Twitter. Loads of useful information over there. And recently, this week, they identified some, as they've called them, potential specs. So they've heard these specs through the rumours, through the grapevine, but normally with Canon rumours, they are not far off. So I would strongly suspect that these specifications might well be what we actually see in the Canon R7. Got them right here in front of me. We're going to talk them through and I'm going to share with you my thoughts. So first up is the sensor, the megapixels of that sensor, and that is now rumoured to be 32 megapixels. Now, that's not too off where we thought it would be. Some people thought it could be up to like 45, like the Canon R5. I don't think anyone really thought it was going to be as low as like the R6, around the 20. So 32 megapixel sensor. That probably sits about right for me for a crop sensor camera. I think that probably is going to be pretty much where it is. And just to reconfirm that crop sensor part, it is rumoured now to be an APS-C sensor. There were some people who thought that the R7 wasn't going to be a crop sensor and that kind of people were just assuming because of the R7 and linking back to the 7D Mark II that people thought it would be a crop sensor camera. But it does seem now that the rumours are moving further and further towards that being an APS-C crop sensor camera, 32 megapixels. Moving on from there, we're then rumoured that he's going to be using the Digitex image processor. So that's the same as the Canon R6, Canon R5, exactly what I assumed it would be. That's going to make it a real nice, fast, powerful camera right up there with the R6, R5. I figured we would see that, but it is good to see that near enough confirmed. Moving on from there, we're looking at 20 frames per second. That's great. That's exactly what I wanted to see. That's going to mean it's lightning fast. It's going to be right up there for the sport shooters, wildlife shooters, you bird photographers out there. You're going to love that as well. Going to be really, really good. Autofocus system is rumoured to be the same again as the R5, R6, which means it's going to be really great, fast speed, good autofocus, great for me shooting sports, great for wildlife bird shooters again. I think that's going to be a fantastic fast action camera. Okay, interesting one on the next one is the card slots. So it is rumoured to now have one CF Express card slot and one standard SD card slot. Now that's interesting because of course the R6 has the two SD card slots, whereas the R5 has the one SD and one CF Express. So in fact the card slots on this camera are going to be looking more like the R5 than they are the R6. That makes sense if you think back to the 7D Mark II. Well, that had two card slots. It had the CF card and then it had the SD card. So if you think at the time, the 1DX series had the two CF cards, the 7D Mark II had the one CF and the one SD. So I suppose that kind of makes sense that the R7 series is following that same kind of theme. One of each. We've got one CF Express card and one SD card. So that's quite cool. My only thought with that is that people like myself who like to record images to both cards at the same time, we're going to have to make sure that we've got some really fast SD cards in that second slot to keep up with the CF Express cards. Because people who like to shoot redundant like myself, so you've got two copies of everything, going to have two cards that can keep up with each other for all of your fast images. We then got a rumoured video spec next, 4K at 60 frames per second. So that's in line with the Canon R6. Doesn't look like it's going to be doing the 8K like the R5, but I don't think anybody thought it was going to be doing 8K. So 4K 60 frames per second is the rumoured spec so far. I like that. Good for me. Keeps up with all my videos. It would work nicely alongside my R6. Happy with that 100%. Going to be doing 1080p at 240 frames per second, and you're going to be able to shoot in C-Log 3. So you video guys, those two specs might be quite key for you. Photo guys, you're probably looking at that thinking, I don't care which is cool. But video shooters and hybrid shooters like myself who shoot photo and video, two really important specs, so good to see both of those in there. The latest hot shoe is the next rumoured spec, so I'm assuming that just means the same hot shoe that we're seeing in like the R6, R5, R3. That did make me think, I wonder if I need to dig closer into the specs. Is there something fancy about the hot shoe in the R3 that I haven't noticed? I know it looks a little bit different, but I don't believe the functionality is necessarily that much different from like the R5, R6. So I'm assuming it's going to be roughly the same, but the latest hot shoe in the R7. And then the last one is interesting and perhaps the one that leaves the brain ticking the most, because it says a combination of ergonomics from the R6 and R5. Now in my last video, I certainly suggested that I thought the ergonomics were going to be near enough the same as the R6, and that personally I didn't think we were going to see the screen on the top. But now interesting, when you look at the ergonomics of the R5, R6, they are roughly the same. There's not many differences. One of the key differences, of course, is that screen on the top. So maybe actually that is hinting towards the fact that we might have the screen on the top of the R7, and that could then be the combination in ergonomics between the R5, R6. As I've said before, I'm actually not too fussed about that myself. I think, in all honesty, with the fact that I would intend to use it alongside the R6, I would probably prefer the ergonomics to be the same as the R6, so that in my hands it feels roughly the same without too much difference in operation. I'm not scared by that if it does, because I already use a 1DX and an R6 which work quite differently, so I know I could adapt and do that easy enough. It would just be easier if they were exactly the same. And that's it, that's the rumoured specs that we have. I would imagine those are going to be quite likely though, and the most exciting part of this is it sounds as though we are now expecting an announcement of that Canon R7 in August, so we're only a few months away, hopefully, from seeing a Canon R7, and hopefully seeing one right here on this channel. I will try and get hold of one as soon as I can so that we can get some videos out about it, just like I did when the Canon R6 came out. We'll get some sports-specific videos out there about it, and of course some general ones as well. Now the next really interesting thing that Canon rumours picked up on is that they believe there are rumours that we will also be seeing the launch of two Canon RFS lenses. Now I talked about this in my last Canon R7 video. We talked about whether or not we thought there would be any point in Canon having an RFS range. And now a lot of people don't think there really is much point, and I get that argument. Canon have already produced a couple of more, I say, budget models, slightly cheaper models of RFS lenses. There's a 35 now, there's like a nifty 50 lens, so you can get some more affordable RF lenses. So I don't necessarily know if there is a specific need for an RFS range, but then again, I suppose the same argument could have been made for the fact we had an EFS range before, when we also had the EF range. So it will be interesting to see. Personally myself, bearing in mind I shoot with an R6 as well, as I move my lens range forwards, I probably will focus on RF glass rather than looking at RFS. The RF lenses will of course work on the R7 even if there is an RFS range, and actually, you know, you can get some wide angles if you're worried about not being able to go wide enough with that crop sensor. So for me, I think I'll be fine with it. I'm going to stick with the RF range. But then again, who knows? The Sigma 18 to 35, which was specifically a crop sensor lens from Sigma at the time, was one of my favourite ever lenses. So maybe there are some great things about some of those. It'd be interesting to see which RF lenses we do see from Canon, and then of course whether or not those third parties like Sigma are able to start producing the RF or even RFS lenses as well. Sounds like we've still got limited information on that, but if we do hear anything more, I'll try and get it right here on the channel as soon as we can. In the meantime, guys, I think that just about rounds us off. Hope you found that interesting. A little bit of photo gossip. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Comment below. Let me know. Are you going to be looking to get hold of the Canon R7? And if you are, what type of shooter are you? What do you intend on using it for? Because I'm interested to hear if there's other sport shooters who are also thinking that R7 could be attractive. For me, I think it could really work alongside an R6 nicely, and that's what's making it look attractive to me. Let me know in the comments below, guys. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I will see you on the next video.